Xtalks connects professionals in the life science, medical device, and food industries with useful content like webinars, job openings, articles, and virtual meetings to help you succeed in your career. This food industry-focused podcast brings together some of our editorial staff to share insights into the latest B2B industry news to help keep you up to date.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Xtalks Food Podcast. I'm Sydney Perlmutter, Senior Food Industry Journalist and Webinar Moderator at Xtalks.com, and this week I'm joined by Vera Kovacevic. Thank you so much for coming today. So, first thing I'm going to talk about is a top 10 list of the largest publicly traded food companies by market capitalization or market cap. So, obviously, this list is ever changing, but this year, a lot of factors have sort of accumulated in a diverse and competitive market where these companies obviously dominate. On this list, we have multinational corporations that have extensive portfolios, but we also have some specialized giants that focus on specific niches. So the global food industry is undergoing significant transformations driven by shifting consumer demands and advancements in technology. And as consumers increasingly prioritize health, wellness, and sustainability, companies are responding by offering products that cater to these preferences. Now, in addition to changing consumer preferences, tech is playing an increasingly important role in the food industry. So we have AI, which is expected to revolutionize various aspects of the food industry, from supply chain management to meal planning and nutrition advice. However, the industry also faces considerable challenges, of course, including the impact of climate change and economic instability. So the United Nations has warned that efforts to eliminate global hunger have stalled, with over 2.33 billion people experiencing moderate or severe food insecurity last year. And as the global population continues to rise, the need for sustainable and healthy food options becomes much more critical. Now, in response to these trends and challenges, these food companies are investing heavily in innovation and sustainability. So they're not only leaders in revenue, but also in their commitment to meeting evolving consumer demands and addressing global issues like food insecurity and environmental stability. And I'll do something a little bit different. Instead of starting at 1, I'll start at 10 and I'll count. I'll go back to 1. So I'll get to 5 and then we'll pause and then we'll go from there. So number 10 on the list is the Kraft Heinz Company. We've all heard of it. Its market cap is $41.85 billion. So we know Kraft Heinz, major player in the food and beverage industry. It's got a diverse portfolio that mainly includes condiments, sauces, and snacks. And the company's focus on innovation and sustainability has definitely helped it stay competitive. 9 is Danone. Danone is a French multinational organization known for its focus on dairy and plant-based products, and its market cap is just a little bit higher at $42.99 billion. Number 8 is Compass Group, market cap $52.28 billion. It's a British multinational specializing in contract food services, and it operates in 33 companies and serves various sectors, including healthcare, education, and sports as well. So not specifically food, but food is included. 7, DoorDash, market cap $53.1 billion. It's a leading platform in food delivery, and it connects consumers with a wide range of restaurants and grocery stores. Number 6, we talked about this on the largest food companies, one of the lists we talked about, but very surprised to find it here, is Chipotle. It's a leader in the fast casual dining sector, known for its focus on fresh, sustainably sourced ingredients. And it's got 3,500 restaurants across the US, Canada, and Europe, and its market cap is $71.85 billion. And number 5 is Hindustan Unilever Limited. So it's India's leading fast-moving consumer goods company, and it operates in various categories like food, beverage, and personal care. Obviously, Unilever, the company, this is India's, sector of it, and its market cap is $77.06 billion. So for me, the surprise on here was Chipotle. Do you agree?
Why is its market cap so large? I'm not understanding. Is it the news now that Chipotle CEO is now Starbucks' CEO?
Oh, is that so?
Can you check that?
Yeah, that's news to me.
So the current CEO of the current CEO of Starbucks, I think previously was the CEO of Chipotle, and he helped Chipotle obviously become very successful. So I think that's why Starbucks recruited him. I just saw a lot of memes on the internet about him. And so, I just wondering, is that correct? Or
It is correct.
Okay.
It is, yes.
Okay, interesting. I did hear that Chipotle became like very successful, but I didn't expect their market cap to be in the billions. In fact, like, can you explain a little bit more, like, how is this market cap assessed?
Yeah, it's a good question. Market cap, this is the official definition. It represents the total dollar market value of a company's outstanding shares of stock. So investors sometimes use this figure to determine a company's size instead of the sales or total asset value. So market cap, depending, it can change every day. So depending on, for example, Chipotle's stock price, which today is $55.18. So it's actually higher today than it was, when I wrote this article, because share prices went up. But if share prices went down, then obviously the market cap would go down as well. And yeah, it's a good distinction to make between, like, this isn't their revenue, this isn't their sales or anything. This is just often what people, when they ask, like, oh, what's Chipotle worth? They'll often use market cap as a figure because it's a decent way to gauge what a company is worth.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
So I'm sure you've seen, like, Shark Tank or Dragon's Den, like when a company, or when people go on and say, like, oh, we're offering 10% of our company for $100,000, then that company's market cap would be $1 million.
Right.
Yeah. So, and then there's often a lot of debate about, oh, you guys aren't worth that. I think the same thing often applies to bigger companies when they go public. And I've noticed, like, when companies go public, there's often, like, quite a flux in terms of, the share price. But Chipotle seems to be pretty immune to that and pretty consistently worth, have a high market cap, and made it onto this list as one of two, like, basically fast food companies on the list. So pretty impressive.
Yeah.
Pretty impressive. I don't know how they've done it.
Me neither.
I've never even been to Chipotle.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
It's really good.
Okay,
I recommend.
Well. Would you ever, if you're a first-time investor, would you consider investing in Chipotle knowing this?
Oh, yes, actually. Yeah. I think so. I think with the new CEO, maybe things will expand even more.
Funny enough, Starbucks isn't on this list.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, that's surprising.
Yeah. Well, I'll finish off the list. Third is Unilever. So we talked about its Indian counterpart with a market cap of $152.36 billion. British multinational that operates across many categories like nutrition and ice cream. Second on the list, McDonald's. So that was the other fast food company. Market cap of almost $200 billion. So it ranks second on the list, obviously, and it's got over 40,000 locations in more than 100 countries. I find McDonald's to be, like, more of, like, an institution than Chipotle. I think it's older. It's just more locations, better known, but still extremely impressive. And then first on the list is Nestlé. So market cap of $265.46 billion. So obviously, very diverse portfolio. It's got over 2,000 brands and clear leader in the food and beverage industry. So that is our top 10 list. I'm not too surprised by any of the top three. I actually missed number 4, and that's Mondelez International, which owns Oreo, Ritz, and Cadbury, and it's got a market cap of $93.66 billion. So, I'm not too surprised by Really any of them, yeah, except for Chipotle.
There was only two that I never heard of, and it was the French one.
Compass?
No,
Oh, no.
with a D.
Danone?
Danone.
You have, I'm sure. They have yogurt and stuff.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Now
Yeah.
I know. And there was another one, I think, right before that one. So number 10 was Kraft Heinz, and then number 9 was
Danone.
And number 8,
Compass Group?
yeah, Compass Group.
Yeah, so that's like a contract food service
Okay.
company. So and they're a British company. So
They're doing pretty
unlikely
well.
that we would have heard of them. I think they do well. It seems to me, I'll confirm this, but since they also operate in other sectors like healthcare, education, and sports, my assumption is that they do food services for like large events. They're ahead of Sodexo, and Sodexo is another, food service company that does the same, offers the same sort of things. Yeah, really, I can see how they do well, but yeah, I hadn't heard of them either.
Okay.
Yeah, so. But really, this list, like we were saying, like can change every day. This is just at the time of when I wrote it, about a week ago or a few weeks ago at this point. So yeah, this list could completely change.
Yeah, I don't see it changing that much. I think the top 5 always are on the top 10 list,
Yeah.
but then I think it's numbers 6 to 10 that someone may be knocked out.
Yeah, exactly. So there might be a new entrant, especially because Kraft Heinz and Danone are so close to each other. Like maybe they can switch places. But yeah, I agree with you. Like once you get into the top 5, it's unless something crazy happens, then they're likely to stay in the top. Yeah, I agree. And yeah, maybe you're right. Maybe Chipotle stock went up with the new change of CEO. It's possible.
Yeah.
If he was successful at Starbucks, then,
Yeah.
it's quite possible. All right, next story. Kind of a disappointing story. Supermarket baby food is often a very critical aspect of early childhood development. Yet, many products in the U.S. Baby food aisle fall short of nutritional standards. A recent study that was published in the journal Nutrients highlights significant concerns, revealing that many baby food contains excessive amounts of sugar and salt, coupled with misleading marketing claims. So the study examined 651 baby food products from 10 major U.S. supermarkets, focusing on foods marketed for children aged 6 to 36 months. Shockingly, 60% of these products did not meet the World Health Organization's nutritional guidelines for infant and toddler foods. And even more concerning, nearly all of the products, or 99.4%, featured marketing claims that are discouraged by the WHO, such as organic or non-GMO, which may mislead parents into thinking that these products are more nutritious than they actually are. And protein content is another significant issue. So the study found that 70% of the products failed to meet the WHO's protein guidelines, while 25% did not meet calorie recommendations. Additionally, 20% of the baby foods contain salt levels above the suggested limits, raising concerns about the potential health impacts on young children. One of the other alarming findings relates to sugar content. So the study revealed that 44% of baby and toddler foods exceeded the WHO's recommendation levels of total sugars. And a substantial portion of this sugar comes from baby food pouches, which have seen a 900% increase in sales over the past 13 years. So these pouches, often marketed for their convenience, can contribute to unhealthy eating habits as they're sweeter than natural fruits, and they lack the texture needed for developing chewing skills. Kind of sad, eh?
Yeah, and especially today, like usually both parents may be very busy, and then they may rely mostly on the packaged baby food that they think is really nutritious and healthy and has the right balance of all the nutrients and micronutrients, macronutrients, and then it turns out a lot of them don't, and that's quite disappointing, right? Like you almost have to do your own research first before you buy something. That could take up a lot of time.
Oh yeah, and
new parents are busy.
Yes, very busy, and like so busy that I don't really, I mean, I'm not a parent myself, and don't know that many, but I would only estimate that like 5 to 10% of parents, you know, that's probably even generous, but that's my guess, would be, you know, making their own baby food. Do you think that's too generous even?
I don't know. It depends on like I think depends on how the parents eat as well. Like, do they make everything from scratch, or do they tend to buy a lot of like packaged food or eat out or whatever the situation is? But to be honest, I have bought like crackers, organic crackers that I think are for toddlers, thinking that they're like, you know, probably really healthy for you. And then now I realize like maybe that's all just the packaging. Like, I'm sure they are organic and good for you, but are they as good as what the packaging makes you believe? That's the question.
Yeah. And maybe not.
Yeah, like I never even bothered to look at the ingredient list or the percentages of like the nutrients and things, and I don't know, it's quite surprising. And usually baby food is packaged with a lot of like terms like you mentioned, like nutritious, healthy, I don't know what other health claims,
like no preservatives or no, you know,
which I'm sure like no preservatives, that's true. I'm sure organic, that's true. But then those claims in the minds of parents make them assume that this is providing my child with the best nutrition, right?
Yes,
which is like
misleading.
Misleading, yes,
definitely misleading. And yeah, what's sort of sadder to me about this is like, you know, you and I can eat those crackers and we'll be fine.
Yeah.
But yeah, babies don't have a choice. And it's so much more important that they get, you know, nutrients earlier on in life, because that like really contributes to development, right? Yeah. We're already developed. Like it's not as big of a deal. And we have the choice, you know, we have the choice. Yeah. But it seems that like, you know, these if you're fed like very sugary foods as a kid, you're probably going to be more inclined to want sugary foods thereafter.
Yeah, true. Yeah. And I also think that, I don't know, like how, as a, you know, food industry journalist, what would parents need to do to make better decisions?
Well, yeah, I think they would need to look into, like, it's pretty simple actually.
Really?
In my opinion, what I would think, well, it's multifaceted, but I think what you need to do is you'd need to look up kind of a guideline for the exact nutrients at each age that your child needs. And then you sort of cross-reference with the foods that you see in grocery stores. I would say you just look at the nutrition facts and you look at the ingredients. And, you know, if you can read the ingredients and nothing's confusing, and if it meets the nutritional requirements that your child at that age needs, then I would say it's fair game. Yeah. Granted, I'm sure the widely available baby foods, like the ones in this study at supermarkets, are the like cheaper, easier, more easily accessible ones. But I know that there are like smaller companies that offer like food delivery, like baby food delivery services, you know, for each like stage of a child's, you know, development. So unfortunately, like I think you're probably going to be spending more for, you know, better, you know, more nutritious food for your baby, but that's often, you know, something parents are willing to do. But it's less convenient, and it's, you know, there's less of it available.
Yeah, I was pretty shocked. I just assumed all baby food was formulated to be just the right amount of everything they need, right?
Yeah, you would think so. You would think so. And then I guess the other option is, you make it yourself and you know exactly what goes into it. But who has time for that?
Exactly.
Yeah.
It was different when I was a kid than it is now, right? Now, usually both parents work fairly soon after the child is born even. And like usually daycares buy a lot of
that's true.
This kind of food as well. So
that's a good point. Yeah, you'd have to have like complete control over, you know, what your baby is eating to feel like okay about this. I think, yeah, in order to mitigate this, you just have to do a little bit more research, just like not just grab something off the shelf and be like, oh, it's for babies. Okay, my baby can eat this. Like, it's not that they can't eat it. Like, it's okay and they'll survive. It's just, it's not the best.
Right.
It's not the most optimized as you figured it would be. And I figured too.
Do you think there's going to be any next steps that the food industry will take to improve now that the study is out? And I'm sure more studies like this will be done.
Maybe more regulations, like that's the thing.
Like salt content, sugar content, kind of like how you mentioned regulations of lead in baby food.
Yeah. And like at the end of the day, I think these regulations like can be across all foods, not just baby foods, but they're even more important, in baby foods. Depending on how widely like seen, I guess, this study becomes, I hope that further regulations are implemented, more standardized formulas and recipes, I guess.
Yeah.
What I'm thinking, and it always like I always think about this, is like it's gonna be more like if there are regulations put in place, like it's gonna be more expensive for food companies to to make healthier, better baby food.
Yeah.
Potentially, like something I've always been like confused about is like when you see baby food, it's like not refrigerated, right? It's like in cans and it's in jars or whatever it's in. If you want a baby food probably that's more natural, it's probably going to have to be refrigerated, right? Because it's going to have like more natural ingredients without any preservatives.
Yes.
Because I would imagine like a big part of why they're shelf stable is because they have preservatives and salt and whatever else in them to keep them stable.
Or they're very dry food, like
exactly. But these aren't really things that like, a stressed, busy parent is thinking about. You don't really have time to think about that unless you have prepared so far in advance and you know exactly, and you've stocked up on whatever, or you're making it in advance and freezing it. I don't even know.
Yeah.
I don't even know how it works. But one of the other things actually that the study noted was like the presence of hidden sweeteners. So the study noted that 25% of products contained added or concealed sugars, making it difficult for parents to assess the true nutritional value of what they're feeding their children. Because, if these foods contain fruits or veggies or high in sugar foods, they may be high in sugar, but parents may understand like, oh, there's like, there's fruits in this. So obviously there's sugar in it. But one of the study's senior authors, Dr. Elizabeth Dunford, emphasized that misleading labels are a significant concern, particularly in the U.S., where regulations are less stringent compared to countries like Australia and the UK. So, this lack of clear guidelines and the prevalence of misleading market claims create what experts call a health halo around baby food products. And this term refers to the false perception that these foods are healthier than they actually are. And the study's authors argue that this deception can lead well-meaning parents to spend more money on products that don't offer, the nutritional benefits that they believe they're providing. So this study really underscores the urgent need for stricter regulations and better consumer education on baby food. And parents should be aware of the potential pitfalls of the baby food aisle and seek out products that truly meet nutritional guidelines, ensuring that their children receive the best possible start in life. So that's really all that can be done. And it's like food is such a big thing. When you're young, obviously, everyone has different like parenting styles, but everyone's got to eat. Every child and adult has to eat. So probably millions, if not billions of people, rely on supermarket baby food, right? Because it's easy, it's cheap, it's widely available. But if I was a parent and I'm reading this, I would be so let down, so let down. Yeah. Because I'm not really, I don't blame parents here. Like I don't blame parents at all. Like this is very sneaky.
Yeah.
It's very sneaky. It feels like they knew what they were doing.
Yeah, I think they do for sure. And I think that the FDA should probably set stricter regulations like the UK and Australia, like you were mentioning.
Yeah.
Just for ease of mind of a lot of people.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. All right, well, that's the end of this episode of the Xtalks Food Podcast. If you like today's show, don't forget to rate, review, and subscribe. Thanks, everyone, and see you next week. Bye.
Bye.
Thanks for listening to the Xtalks Food Industry Podcast. If you enjoyed our discussions today, please share the episode with your friends and colleagues, and be sure to subscribe in order to be notified when a new episode is released. To join in on the discussion, you can find Xtalks on social media. Email podcast@xtalks.com or comment on the articles directly. Links are in the show description. Take a moment to join our community at xtalks.com to get access to everything we have to offer, including webinars, job listings, virtual meetings, articles, and more. The views and opinions expressed in the podcast are those of the speakers sharing them. They should not be taken as professional advice and do not necessarily reflect the policy or position Honeycomb Worldwide. For further information, email us at podcast@xtalks.com. Thanks for joining us, and we'll see you next week.